What's up, everyone? Welcome, Trash N Talk Podcast, Episode 1. I'm here, Wayne, the garbage man Owen, with my co-host, Kurt, Big Daddy Goetz. How you feeling today, Kurt?
I'm all right.
Still trying to
This
fix
Red Bull,
mics.
this Red Bull I have is very good. It might
Well,
be a little,
that was a free one.
might be a little something extra in it.
They're going to have to pay us for that. But, yeah, so we're coming to you to enlighten, I guess you could say, about the New York City Sanitation, being a garbage man and doing 20 years of picking garbage up and plowing snow and every aspect of the job that we did, because we did them all. But we're going to tell our story, and we plan to get into, having guests on that, we'll talk about their jobs. And, especially we're looking for some jobs that you took a job that not everybody agreed with. If you wanted one path and everybody thought that was a wrong path for you, that's really what we're going to dig into. But all jobs, all people, we're going to have a good time on this and
All
just
walks of
have a
life.
few, all walks of life. You are correct. And some, well, I won't get into that, but that would have been a bad one. But we want to just enlighten people and tell them how the garbage men of New York City do it differently, number one.
Yeah, every borough's different.
And every city's different. Every state's different.
Yeah.
And, a lot of people don't realize how much more we do, on a day-to-day basis. It's not just picking garbage up.
No.
We did a lot of aspects of, different sorts of jobs on the job. And, we had a lot of fun doing it, to be honest.
And there was so many different avenues to go. You could go in the garage. You could become a supervisor. You didn't necessarily have to pick up garbage.
No. And that's the thing. Even if you're out there saying like, oh, one day, hey, I'd love to be a garbage man in New York City. You don't have to pick garbage up. I know people that never touch garbage.
Oh, I know
in
people.
20 years.
I know people that touched it a little bit, and then you said to yourself, I'm glad they're not touching it anymore because they were pretty shitty behind the truck.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But no, there's office spaces, and there's a lot of aspects to the job that you don't realize.
No, a lot of different avenues for
Yeah,
everybody.
you see a truck, you get stuck behind the truck. That's what you see. You
Yep.
see the guy slugging bags into the truck, chucking bags. That's not the job. There's a lot of parts to the job that make it work, and I just had a blast doing it.
Oh, it was the best time of my life.
Yeah, it was a great job. It truly was. But we're gonna get into like all of that and just the fun we had and the people we met, all walks of life.
Yeah.
Like you're talking.
And it's funny because all different walks of life treat you differently when you see you picking up garbage.
100%.
So we'll talk about that too. How certain people would look down on you, and in all actuality, we were making more money than them.
Exactly. And we'll get into when all that changed and when the nightmares started. But it was still fun for us. We never stopped having fun on the job. From day one, or maybe day three. From day three to the end of my time, every day was a good day. And I made the best of it. Even if you were stuck with the worst person, it just didn't matter. You made the best of the day.
The best way I could put it is like you're in college for 20 years in a frat.
Yeah.
Because you have your core group of guys that you're friends with.
Uh-huh.
And it's just, you laugh all day long. There's always cliques in sanitation garages. You have guys that are interested in this, guys that are interested in that. So, you quickly gravitate to the people that you're in common with, but these are the guys you're friends with for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
And every day is fun. There wasn't a day I didn't laugh.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. I never thought of it that way. And I think you nailed it there.
Yeah.
That, you have a group of guys and girls that, you had common things that you were interested in, and the avenues all went different.
Yeah.
You had groups, you could call them all, you got your cliques. It weren't cliques. I mean, we're kind of grown men at that point.
It was just different people had different interests.
Exactly.
Whoever gravitated to each other hung out with each other.
Yeah, you had guys that collected the garbage. You had guys that just did the job and moved on.
Yeah.
We never got into that aspect, and the way the job would, really take over people's lives. Like there were people that were just too involved and just cared way too much about it.
You got to look at it this way. The way I looked at it was, if I hate coming to work, I don't want to be here. So these guys that were all gung-ho and fighting for this and fighting for that, pick your battles, have fun every day.
Exactly.
Or put it to bed.
Yeah. No, 100%.
And that's part of it that got annoying.
Yeah, it was hard. Those days were hard that we had I'm not going to say go to war because that's not even what it is. But it was...
Prove a point.
It got out of control sometimes, and it was childish. I'd hate to say it, but it was. It truly was. But yeah, we're going to get into that, and we're going to... Listen, for everybody out there, we've never done this before. So we're going to learn all the way through this from today till, until we, get to where we're going. Like, we're doing this step by step on our own. It's a learning curve, and we're just looking to have fun and a few laughs and bring up some great memories and hope you guys enjoy it as well. And
hopefully everybody gets informed on all different jobs.
Yeah, how to put out your recycling.
Yeah, how to put out your recycling. How not to have maggots.
Yeah,
that would be
luck.
nice. Today you'll learn on this episode how to not have maggots.
Yeah, that's episode 17. But yeah, we're gonna bring in all people. Like, we have all family and friends that want to come in and talk about their jobs, and we don't want dirt. We don't want to know all the things that your boss doesn't know. Like, no, we're just looking for you to come on and tell people about jobs that maybe they don't know, and maybe that's something they would want to get into.
This to me, the way I feel about us with this podcast, when we get other people on here, we don't want it to be your platform because you're disgruntled about your job. That's not what this is about. This is about you informing people about your job that had no idea about your job and how fun it is or how good it is, what you learned, how much money, you don't have to give us a number, but how well you do.
How you support your family.
Yeah. This isn't going to be about being disgruntled.
Exactly.
That's not what we're here for. We're here to be informative and laugh.
Exactly. And that's going to be our biggest go-to with the whole thing. We want to let people know that, you may look at, like, for instance, with us, like, when we grew up, our parents, I remember a high school teacher of mine said, you keep messing around, Wayne, you're going to be a garbage man. Yeah. Well, it turns out I did become a garbage man. And unfortunately, he's not here anymore to hear this podcast. Yeah. But, joke's on him, because he looked down on them. And a lot of people do. And there's jobs out there that people just think, oh, it's another job. But there's a career there. There's something that you may love in that job that you just don't know is there.
Well, people don't understand, like, what I didn't, nobody understands when you first get on a job, all the different avenues.
Yeah.
So you could go up to making over $200,000 a year in sanitation.
Exactly.
Depending on how high you go up as a boss.
Exactly. And those are things we'll talk about. And we just want to, we want to definitely hear from everyone, and you could actually email us at trashandtalkpod@gmail.com. And if you want to come on and talk and tell us about your job, and we would love to hear from you, and just even tell us on an email, and we could talk about it and give you a shout out. And we respect and love everybody, and would love you to just come out and hang out and watch us and see how we grow.
Definitely subscribe to us, share it, tell your friends about us. It's going to be interesting.
It's
definitely going to be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's going to be fun. We're going to have a lot of fun. And listen, we're not doing this. We have no reason to be doing this for any other reason, just to have fun, have a few laughs, inform people about the things that they don't know about certain jobs. And we've got a few people lined up, and we're just going to make it what it is. And that's it, But we're going to have fun with this. I think this is going to be good stuff, Kurt.
I agree. There's a lot of people out there that don't know a lot about different union jobs. There's a million different jobs. We already have people lined up that you'll understand it when you watch the podcast. It'll be informative yet funny.
Exactly. And we're going to be a little different, and we might dabble around some things that other podcasters do, just because that's how we're learning. We're learning from other people, but this is our first one, and episode 1 is hopefully going to be be a good first, and we'll go from there.
It's a good jump off learning.
That's it.
You know,
I can't jump anymore, but
I have 2 titanium knees, everybody,
from the job.
from the job.
Yeah, so we're gonna get into the job. We're gonna get into, when we decided to take the test to be a sanitation worker. And listen, you give you $35. You
back
get
then
a
it was
location.
35.
Yeah, you get a location. It says, you go meet here. But when we took our test, there was so many people that signed up to take these city tests. And it's for all the city tests. There's hundreds of thousands of people in the New York area that want to become civil service workers. It's a great job. It's great for your family. It's good money. But our test there was like 100,000 people. But ours was a lottery.
Yeah, ours was a lottery.
So you got informed after you sent 100,000 people sent in the $35. Then you got a letter saying that now you can take the test. So it wasn't everybody taking the test. It wasn't like, hey, we got all this money. Yeah. Everybody's going to take it. We'll see how the list goes. So I remember doing that. My sister signed me up for it, signed both of them in. I got to take the test.
Yeah, me too. Me and my brother.
Yeah. So where'd you take the test?
I think I took the test maybe New High School.
It was New York. So then we took it in the same spot, and we didn't even know each other back then.
No, we didn't.
We had no idea. We took the test in the same spot.
Wayne was a whippersnapper.
Yeah, I was a young. Yes, I was. I was 20 years old.
Well, we got called about a year, right?
Yeah, it was a little less than. It was less than a year.
So I was 25.
And mind you, to get to the timing point, you could say we got lucky, but we did really well on the test, the two of us. We're literally 10 numbers away. What was your list number? Oh, 375, right?
371.
371. Mine was 348. I had him beat for 20 years. But anyway, I'll throw that little one. Haymaker.
We had foot size. Size 22.
No, but yeah, we got the job, but we took the test. Because we, took the test, we got this job, and we didn't know much about it.
I knew nothing about driving a truck. Zero.
No, but we just knew nothing about the job itself.
Oh no.
So when we signed up to take this test, we're just like, because we would see in our neighborhood, we knew family, friends, neighbors, they were civil service workers.
All I knew was 4 of my cousins were garbage men.
Yeah.
Before me. So that's all I knew.
Yeah, and
my dad was a cop.
Cops, firemen, and anyone says like sign up for all the civil service tests because it's the best way to go if college doesn't work out. But, now we get this letter. Now we got to go to Newdorf High School in Staten Island and take this test. What'd you think of the test, Kurt?
The hardest part of the test, I guess, for anybody would have been if you didn't know how to read a map.
Okay.
Because the questions that they asked about situations of how you would pick something up or throw something out or bending at the knees or picking it up, you have a broom, a rake, an axe. What are you going to use? It was that type of stuff. The hardest part of the test was if you didn't know how to read a map. And it wasn't like it was a map of Manhattan and the best way to navigate to a certain location from one location. It wasn't like you were doing a map from here to Florida.
Exactly.
So it really wasn't difficult, but if you didn't never used the map, I guess maybe that's where people made mistakes because I couldn't see how people made mistakes.
Yeah, because it was all like, if I remember
Common
correctly,
sense, really.
I was trying to get a copy. I got to get a copy. My buddy is still on the job and doing all the training up at Floyd Bennett.
Were you with me when we went to help pick the questions out for the test?
No. I wasn't lucky.
So this was when we were stewards. This is maybe before you became a steward.
Okay.
So they send us to Manhattan, a bunch of shop stewards. We sit down and we look over this test. Now they want us to pick and choose what's going to be on the test. So we all have family members and friends kids that still were on the job. So what do you think we did? We took out anything that seemed difficult.
Okay.
So that test I would love to see that test. That test after that we picked and choose the questions, that had to be the easiest test ever.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. It was pretty easy anyway. Like you said, it was about maps, and what I remember, it was more of north-souths and You know, what side of the street would you pick up if you were driving down this one way? If the south, that's what it was.
Yeah.
It was honestly.
That's what I felt. Not that we did really well, but I could see maybe if you never looked at a map and you didn't know north, south, east, west. I guess.
Yeah, if you've never been in the woods by yourself with a compass. I mean, I was in the Boy Scouts, so I kind of knew how to read a compass. Not really, but you know, at least I could say I was in the Boy Scouts for a little bit.
You know, you were in High Rock Park. I don't know if you consider that the woods, but we could get to that on a later date.
Dude, I went to 10 Mile River, bro. They brought me out. They put me on a boat. I ate baked beans out of a can for friggin' 3 days.
When I was a Cub Scout, we went to 3 Mile Island. Now that's survival. All right, don't let them bullshit you.
Oh my God. So yeah, so. You know, it was a simple test. It's you know what, it's more common sense than anything, 100%. And that's what it is. It's just reading the questions, taking your time. I remember I was in a classroom with a few guys I knew from high school, and like I turned up, I lifted my head at one point, and there was no one left in the room. I was the only one, and I was like, "What the fuck did I just do? Like, what am I doing? Like, what am I missing?" So I just scratched the last two, and those are the only two questions I got wrong. So because like I was told by family members, read the questions.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Do not speed through it.
No,
There's not a race.
Just take your time.
It's not like you're in high school where, you know, you're racing to get out at the end of the day, you're going to, you know, meet all your friends. It's like
no, there was no breaking records because you wanted to get on the job.
Exactly.
But we'll talk about people taking supervisor tests.
Well, that's another
after the
story
fact,
for another
breaking
day.
records.
That was a fun day. But we'll get into that story. But no, the test is strictly, you know, just common sense. Because honestly, when we got on the job and, you know, real quick and we'll go back, when you never drove a truck before in Manhattan and there's millions of people just walking around the streets, you need common sense. So I think that's why the tests are the way they are.
Yeah.
Like they don't need you to be able to write a 20-page paper on, you know, astrology.
No, they need you to have common sense.
Exactly. So
I agree with that.
And it showed, and like I said, I you know, we did really well. We got called within a year, which is amazing. I know guys on the job.
That's the only time that's ever happened.
Yeah, we know guys on the job that it took them almost 10 years to get called because the test kept getting frozen. You have to hire a certain amount of people per test. Well, we got lucky. And that was back in 1999.
Yep.
That's crazy that we got hired in the 90s.
2000.
How old are we, bro? That's just it's great. It truly is. It's nuts that we got hired in 1999.
The millennium, baby.
Yeah, and now, you know, retired. And listen, everybody has their own like idea of what retirement is, right? Everybody thinks like, oh, I'm gonna do 20 years and I'll be done, and I never got to work again in my life. It's you know, guys and girls out there.
Everybody.
If you did really well for yourself in a different atmosphere, like a different avenue, then that's great for you. But when you take a civil service test, if you have nothing else to fall back on, I hate to tell you, you can't do 20 years. It's just not plausible. Your money, you can't make that much.
You need to invest.
Invest money, of course. But it's just more of like everybody, oh, I took the job. You know, I was 21. I said I'll never work a day over 20, which I didn't. But I had my contracted stuff going on. You know, I was doing bathrooms, kitchens. So I had a vision of where I wanted to be. It didn't work out so well.
Yeah, like mine was a little different than yours. I got hurt. I couldn't do nothing else. So that's how I left. I didn't leave on my own terms.
But you were going to leave anyway.
No, I would have stayed at least 25.
You would have did 25?
Easy, yeah.
Yeah?
Because I got hurt my 21st. I was 21 and a half when I got hurt.
Okay.
I would have stayed 25. That was my goal, was 25. In my head, it was 25. So, but then, you know, other things happen in life, and you deal with what you get dealt. Yeah, I just never, and it's not like day one where I had said like, oh, I hate this job, I'm only doing 20. You know, the way I see it is they're giving you an opportunity to get paid for the rest of your life. They're going to pay you a salary every year, and you never have to show up for them. Nope.
I mean, to me, that's a no-brainer. Like, get out of there as soon as possible. Start another career.
Yeah.
I was 40 years old. I've started now. I have a new career. I'm there about 7-8 months, and it's awesome. But it's like, why would you sit there knowing that you're killing your body? And honestly, you're just a number.
Yeah, you are a number. You leave, you forgot about. It's
instantly.
Sad, but it's true. The next guy's picking up your spot wherever you are.
Yeah, and they're waiting for you.
In
They're
their
watching
eyes.
you walking out the door.
The city's eyes, you're just a number.
Exactly. But, and listen, we know a lot of guys that are doing 25. I still talk to a few guys. I don't talk to as many as I used to, but
not as many guys are doing the 25 as I thought we're gonna. I thought everybody was gonna.
Yeah, well, they got to those numbers in the COVID years. COVID years helped a lot of guys. COVID years helped a lot of guys, get juice up their numbers for retirement.
Yep.
And I tried to explain this on a podcast I was on.
It's usually unforeseen circumstances what you gain on.
Exactly.
Sandy, those years we made a lot too.
Exactly.
9/11, if you were in Manhattan.
But they have to add up within your range of timing. And that's what it is. It's like the timing of the 5 years.
Yeah. Well, there's definitely guys that were in Manhattan during 9/11 that worked crazy overtime.
Oh, yeah.
That stayed on the job because they were early on the job. Those might be their best years.
Yeah. And you got to get those 3 best years out of a connecting 5. And yeah, the COVID years, I know a guy that just left. They did really, really well.
Really well.
And mind you, let's put it to a different way too, the way you got to look at it. These guys, they worked all day. So when I say like these guys are leaving with crazy money, they weren't doing an 8-hour shift.
No.
They did 12-hour shifts for probably 2 years. Every single day, maybe a Sunday off here and there.
When nobody else wanted to be outside.
Exactly. Like they were out there.
Nobody wanted to be in the public. Nobody wanted to touch anything. Nobody wanted to, and we were picking it up.
Yeah, and I give them kudos for that because honestly, I didn't want to be outside. I just ran to get my toilet paper and that was it.
I just remember cleaning my truck as soon as I got in the truck. Lysol.
Yeah.
And everybody's peeking out their window as you're picking up their garbage, and you're saying to yourself, "This is insanity."
You're probably saying to yourself, "These motherfuckers all got COVID."
Yeah.
And it's probably all over this trash can.
It's all over me right now, in my nose, in my ears, spraying all over my luscious body.
No, but it was part of the job, and that's the funniest part too. So like we're bringing up all these bad things that happened in New York. You got the COVID nonsense. Then you had Sandy. 9/11. You had all the storms come through, and essential workers only. Essential workers get discounts. And motherfucker, we never got the discounts.
No, they never considered us.
They laughed at us.
The cops and firemen were essential.
They get everything.
But meanwhile, we were the ones touching everything.
Yeah. So I remember during Sandy.
COVID.
I remember during Sandy, like guys were running out of gas.
Yeah.
You couldn't get to work because there was no gas stations because all the gas stations got flooded. It was a disaster. And they were like, essential workers can come at a certain time and get gas, first responders. And we had guys like getting turned away and guys were calling out. They were like, I can't get to work. I have no gas in my car. I personally was ciphering gas out of my work van at the time because I couldn't get gas.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but it's what we had to go through.
It's sad that because we're never considered like cops or firemen that we're essential, but take away garbage getting picked up and you have a really, really bad problem.
Ooh. And we learned that fast in Manhattan.
Oh.
If there was a snowstorm in Manhattan and there wasn't a lot of snow equipment in Manhattan, but when there was a snowstorm, it was nuts, man. We would go out that next day. Oh, the piles and pounds of garbage. It was disgusting.
Listen, when I got to Manhattan, when I first got on, now, other than maybe going to clubs with my friends, it's the only time I was ever in Manhattan.
Okay.
I'm 26
Same here.
26 years old. I'm in the West Village. Total chaos, craziness everywhere you go. And I got hired October 4th, right? Was our hire date? Yeah, October 4th. So, but the end of October, there was a snowstorm. I'll never forget this till the day I die. They put me in a salt spreader, full-size salt spreader. My garage only had like 3 of them.
Yeah, garage only had 5, 6.
Manhattan, too, didn't have
Yeah.
many. And they give me a route, and they tell me to do the route. Nobody tells me, if the block looks tight, don't go down it. Nobody says a word to me. I got less than a month on the job.
Hey, they're going to figure it out, kid.
Oh, yeah, figure out. I'm driving down a block in Chinatown, and I can't, I think I'm going to hit every car. And what do? It's like a Friday night, Saturday night. I get out of the garbage. I get out of the salt spreader. I'm banging on this Chinese restaurant's window. The guy's trying to close. I go, listen, 2 things are going to happen right now. Either you're going to get in front of me and guide me down this block, or I'm hitting every car as I come down it. And so Chinese guy that barely spoke, broken English, guided me down the block and got me through. When I got back to the garage, I told them what happened. They said, oh, you're not supposed to go down that block. I said, it would have been nice if you told me.
Yeah, it was on the paper.
It was on the paper. They said, oh, that's what the small truck is for. I go, what small truck?
Yeah, exactly. So why don't you take it off this route,
What
Stoops?
the fuck? But that
Exactly.
was, everybody who gets hired on sanitation should have to work in Manhattan. That's my personal opinion.
Exactly.
Because that's really the hardest part of the job. You learn everything.
You learn the driving aspect of the job, and we'll get into that. But yeah, so we took the test, and to get back to it, we took the test, and then we got the call to go, right? So now we got lucky enough that we didn't have to come on with our CDLs.
No.
The city, they paid for us to get the CDLs. So the commercial driver's licenses. So they did all training with us with dump trucks and all through the Bronx and all this stuff. It was fucking nuts. And like you said, I'm driving at that time. I don't even think I had a pickup truck at that time yet in my life. I think it was all these because I had probably like 7 cars at that point, all little cars.
Yeah.
Now I'm in a dump truck. So it's like, okay, and I'm driving on, the Cross Bronx Expressway. Like, yeah, this is good. Good luck to everybody out here.
Yeah, right.
Good luck, y'all.
I was shitting.
It was crazy. My guy fell asleep on me one day. I wound up in fucking Connecticut. The guy said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Bro, I have no idea where I am. I'm from Staten Island. I'm not out in the Bronx. This is not normal for me."
That was the worst part of it was they threw you in the Bronx wherever we were, driving around, not knowing any directions. You've never been there.
No,
these guys are fucking falling asleep.
And mind you, people, there were no cell phones back there with all this GPS and all this, MapQuest. That's what we dealt with, MapQuest, back when we were getting around. Remember, we used to have to print out 10 pages just to get to the North Shore of fucking Staten Island.
Yes.
Make a right, make a left. You didn't have the phone to tell you make a right, make a left. I had no idea. If this guy didn't tell me, I would have drove all the way to Foxwoods. I would have been gambling.
That was the most stressful thing because that road test depended on, am I getting this job or not?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
So that was the most stressful part of the whole process.
Yeah. And then, do you remember they bottled us up in a van?
Yes. They still do that.
Do they really?
Yeah, because I know a kid
To take
just
the
took
road
test.
test. Yeah.
I know a kid just took it.
So they bottle you up in the van. They take you around the test in the morning. Like you get there for say 6. The road tests are going to start at 8. So there's 10 years in the van. You're all going to do your road test that day. They, drive around there like, all right, this is where you're going to go. You're going to make a left here. You're going to make a right here. You're going to make a left here. All right, cool. So you kind of know, what's going on. You could see where you're going to be turning. They're not going to make it difficult for you. So you're not going to be turning into like a street like he was saying in Manhattan. Go down this street. It's the tightest street, in the Bronx.
No, the parallel park was ridiculous.
It was in cones and there was no one on the block.
Yeah.
Their thing with that test, the only thing I took out of it was getting that license was safety.
Yes, the pre-trip.
The pre-tripping, making sure they checking in the mirrors to make sure no one was behind you.
I want to read something out to you.
Good.
All right. So, young guy, just took the test. Another good friend of my family's son is taking the driver's test next week.
Okay.
All right. So, I'll tell you basically what this. I said, well, how do you feel? Like, what did they tell you? It's because I told him how it was for us. But he said this is exactly verbatim. Form A or B pre-trip inspection, they choose which one randomly. How are you going to pre-trip it? This is what's going on right now with the guys getting hired.
Okay.
Cab inspection, air brake test, straight line backing, parallel park, offset park. If you pass up until this point, then you will drive the truck. If you fail any of that, they don't even let you drive the truck.
Really?
Yeah, which was different with us. They
Oh,
did let you drive the
100%.
truck.
Yeah.
You got to call out all road signs, overpasses, obstructions, pedestrians, etc. when driving. Towards the end of the road test, they have you pull over to describe what a safe stop is and what to do when crossing railroad tracks. They give you a card that shows you how to log into a website, and you find your results 3 hours later.
Oh, what a disaster.
This is what he said. Automatic fails when driving is hitting the curb, going through a red light, and not calling out any vehicles passing on your right side. I don't remember that for us, that you would get in trouble for not saying that. I remember calling out the overpasses and the height and all that stuff. I don't remember saying, oh, there's somebody on the right side walking, or like...
Well, not walking, well, driving,
there's a car passing me on the right now. I don't remember having to do that. But this is what they need right now. This is their main thing.
Yeah, well, because they
and
changed.
he just passed it. He just passed the road test.
Yeah, they changed a lot of the laws with that. I remember a buddy of mine went to take the road test, and he was telling at that point they had to change it because people just they didn't know how to do it. They wanted them to change the oil, check the oil and stuff on the trucks.
Crazy.
Dude, we were on the job 20 years. I never did anything like that.
No.
The maintenance guys, the mechanics did that shit. You know, so we didn't have to deal with that.
No, they were capped off, actually.
Yeah, but we didn't touch it. Exactly. The mechanics did it. We didn't touch that stuff.
You were not supposed to add engine oil to that motor. Mechanic was.
No, yeah.
You could put
You
20
blow the
quarts.
oil.
These guys will
Exactly.
put 20 quarts of oil in a fucking truck.
Some of the guys that we worked with.
You know,
but
20 quarts over them, which should be in. These guys don't care. They don't. It's just like.
yeah, it's not theirs. But yeah. So when we did the road test, I remember they drove through and they told us when you go under this underpass, this overpass, you're gonna make a left, and then you're gonna get right on the highway. So
Yeah.
just go in the left lane. And I remember I did that, and the instructor was like, "Why are you in the left lane?" And I was like, "Oh, sorry." So I got into the middle, and then literally 30 seconds later, he's like, "All right, get into the left lane and go on the highway," because you had to get on the highway right
Yeah,
there. I'm like, this fucking
He was
douchebag.
being a douche.
I literally probably shit my pants, and I said, you know what? Fuck this. I failed. Let me just get this guy back and myself back safely, and that's it.
I never forget it. I was shitting
Right?
my pants.
So I did the whole thing, got back. He's like, all right, kid, have fun on the job. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you passed. Like, they tell you right then and there. You didn't
I
have
think
to
only
go on the
one
internet.
person
And
failed the day I was there.
same with me. And we all felt bad for him. Like, it sucks.
We probably took it the same day.
Yeah, because they just bring shuttle vans out. But it sucks, and you know, I think the kid that failed in my van that day wound up on the job. I had seen him in Manhattan 7, I think, one day, and he took it on his own. Like, you have to go and get the CDL on your own now.
Yeah.
Which he did, and good for him. You know, great. You know, good stuff. When you know, because it is a great job. So why throw it out? You're ready. You got your foot in the door. You got a great number. You got to get in.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah. So when we did the driving, we passed our test. Then you go to the joke of Randall's Island and
2 weeks?
CRS and CRS.
2 weeks was?
Well, it was 2 weeks, but it was like every other day was CRS or in Queens and Randall's Island.
Classroom was CRS, and then driving the truck was Randall's Island.
And the classroom is when we found out that we hit the lotto.
Oh, luckiest, guy
Lotto
in the
ticket.
world. You hit the lotto getting on the show.
Yeah.
That's
So
what we were told.
the joke was, I want to get another ticket because, and at that point we still thought we like hit the lotto.
26,000 a year.
Exactly. What kind of jobs did we give up that we were doing really not
There was
super.
There was a lot of grown men that gave up
There were.
good paying careers to take that job at $50,000 less than what they were making, just because.
Well, it goes to show you to get off and retire.
Yes, that there was guys that took some hits.
Yeah, and that's what people don't realize. Like, people are willing to take a $30,000, $40,000 cut to just be able
For
to
the end game.
to get out, 20 years later.
Yeah, benefits the rest of your life. That's the main thing.
Yeah,
Not just the pension, the benefits,
the health benefits,
for
and
the rest of your life. All that stuff is huge.
yeah,
People look at it; they don't know that everything that's involved. Like, people from the outside are like, "Oh yeah, whatever." They don't know. Most people aren't getting benefits the rest of their lives,
no,
or a paycheck for the rest of their life.
no, unless they got hit by like a bus or
especially when you
something.
get out at 42 years old, 40-something years old, and you live to 90.
Exactly,
So,
and that's like I say, my goal when I said I'm getting out at 41 was, hey, now we got to try to live as long as we can and get all the extra money I can from New York.
That's why Wayne got skinny.
Yeah, I'm on a diet. I'm on Ozempic.
I'm on semaglutide. Shout out semaglutide.
Oh Jesus. Yeah, they owe us $38 for that. But anyway,
$37.50.
But yeah, you know, and Randall's was, you know, they taught you how to bend your knees to pick up a garbage pail.
Well, they also taught, which I never did before, take a truck tire off.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about a real truck tire. I'm not talking about a pickup truck or,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, you know, I messed around with that stuff when I was younger. I never took a dump truck tire off.
No.
You know what I mean?
No, you're right.
So you at least learn that part of it. Putting the chains on, I think we did
Chains
down there,
on.
right?
Yep, chains on the
Maybe a
spreaders.
plow.
The plows on the spreaders. Yeah, I forgot about all that. Yeah, you know.
Yeah. All that stuff that the job encompasses. People don't get, listen, people, when it snows, who do you think's putting a chain on the tires? The garbage man.
Yeah.
And the plow.
And the plows.
There wasn't some magical little fairy putting them on. You're getting filthy doing it. I hated it.
It was awful.
I hated it.
It took me a long time to realize, you know, really get into how to do chains without getting saturated.
Without getting dirty.
Dirty, saturated.
I know two guys that were perfect at it. Two guys.
Were they short?
And they called them Houdini. Houdini and David Copperfield.
I was pretty good at it.
That was my brother and Dags. They used to disappear. They disappeared every time. They would sign up to be in the garage.
Yes.
And then they would leave. Remember?
Oh,
you look around, they'd be gone.
Gone.
I'm covered head to toe in grease.
Yeah. It was disgusting because the trucks were outside the whole time in the snow, and then they would come in covered in. It's pouring down your back. I remember hitting you in the back of the neck, the ice. Yeah. But yeah, so they taught you that kind of stuff, like how to do that, change the tires. I remember going to the garage, you know, real quick with the tire changing, and I took the bolts right off. And the guy like yelled at me. He's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I'm like, "What do you mean?"
You got to hit it first.
Because it has these little cleats that hold the tire in. He said, "You can never take them off." He said, "Those cleats will shoot across the room and take you out." And they do, man. They buckle when you hit that with the sledge.
I remember that.
Woo.
I remember them saying it, but I also remember they're saying they taught you, but you did one tire. And you didn't do 600 tires. You did one tire. They showed you once. Then you get to a garage and you're like, "All right, kid, you know how to change a tire." You're looking at the supervisor like, "What the fuck?
You just learned this.
What the fuck are you talking about?"
Exactly. Yeah, and but you did. You were taught there, and then when you got into the garage, that's where you really learned how to do it. You learned the Nixon, you know, cranny, the fun way to do it, the safer way to do it, because they were teaching you up there the safest way.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, it was like, my back is killing me now. Like, where this guy's got this special tool in my garage.
To pick up a tire.
Yeah, the lifting tires, spinning tires. I'm like, this guy, Mikey Smalls, was amazing at it.
Yeah.
And literally could probably do it with one hand.
Every garage had
that guy.
That guy,
Yeah. That was just awesome at changing tires.
Great at what he did, yeah.
So we did that. Then the CRS was like the classroom stuff, you know, fill out paperwork and your retirement stuff, you know, if something happens to you.
Talk about all the different things.
Safety stuff.
Yeah, safety stuff. The different groups they would talk about too, right? Like
like the Bloods and the Crips.
Yeah. Columbia, the German, Steuben, the Irish, all that.
Yeah,
stuff.
like the groups to give money to.
Yeah, basically.
And they did. They helped you out. If you got into a jam, they would help you out. You made a phone call. That's what the money was there for.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did that, and then you pretty much, your name was put on a sheet, and mine said Manhattan 6.
Yeah, mine was Manhattan too.
Where the fuck is that? Like, now, I'm like, okay, you're assigned to Manhattan 6. These guys, there was like, I want to say 9 or 10 of us. How many guys went into 2 with you?
Probably like 5.
Okay.
There was like 5.
So you still had a number. And you were probably number 1.
Beat,
I was going to say. I think I was 3rd. So I had like 6 or 7 guys beat off the jump.
It was a small garage, Manhattan too. I don't know if you remember going to
Yeah,
town.
yeah,
It was a tiny garage. But everybody was from Staten Island, so it was perfect. I had a carpool right off the bat.
This episode is brought to you by Magic Cobra Tattoo Shop in Brooklyn, New York. Check out both of their locations, 667A 5th Avenue and 775 Driggs Avenue. Go see Woods and the rest of all of his great artists. We thank them for all their support. Yeah, so we get the assignments, and like I had said, they put it on a bulletin board, and you're like looking like if you made like a high school like basketball team. You're like, oh my God, I got 6. And like you're hugging people that you just met. And
Yeah. You're looking to see if anybody you met is going to the same garage you went to.
exactly, because you're with these people for 2 weeks. You get to know some of the guys. And, you know, then next thing you know, you're not with them. And you're like, oh, man. Which I speak to, you know, I got a friend, Kev, you know, Kev Mann, that I still speak to. He went to M7. You know, we sat next to each other, just the last names set up that way. But, yeah, I knew nothing about where I was going, what garbage I'd be picking up. I had no idea about that aspect of it.
I had no idea about anything. All I knew was, like a lot of people, I had a cousin.
Bring it a little.
I had a cousin,
There
and
you
he's like, where do you want to go? He goes, you're not going to go to Staten Island.
No, you couldn't get on Staten Island.
And he said to me, but where do you want to go? I said, I want to go where I'm going to make the most money. I said, I have a baby coming. I said, I need to make the most I can make.
With the overtime and everything
Yes.
else.
So he said, all right, I got you. And that's when they put me to 2.
Yeah. So
which was a Sunday every month. And all the parades and the street fairs and all that stuff was overtime.
Yeah. And, you know, I kind of had to hook up to my Italian style of uncle.
Yeah.
You know, in Staten Island, it was just a friend of, you know, the family or whatever. You called them all uncles.
Yeah.
You know, and if they were elder to you, they were your uncles. And he was a big wig on the job, you know, and same kind of thing. I put him in a garage that he's going to make a lot of money.
Yeah, that's all I wanted.
Which was fine. And it was a great garage. M6 was, honestly, it was awesome.
Yeah, M6 was all right, but M2 was known as the best in the West.
Yeah.
And you were a West Side garage.
Well, we were on the west side, but
You
we
were
picked
west.
up on the east.
Oh, you were East?
We picked up on the east.
7 was West.
7 was the west side.
So
5.
it was
2, 5, 7 was up the west side. No, 5 was on the east.
2, 4, 1, 2, 4,
7.
7, and maybe 9.
No, 9 picked up in
Because
the
I used
Bronx.
to when I was in the GU spot in Manhattan too, which is crazy that I had no time on. I was able to get a GU spot.
Yeah.
I had to do the mail, so it was 1, 2, 4, 7.
6. Well, you picked up, if you did the mail, you did.
No, I picked up the West Side mail. I didn't pick up.
So they must have changed it.
It was only West Side mail I would get.
Because I had when I did the mail, I did the bottom of Manhattan, all those garages.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got to these garages, and you know, you pull up day one, you're like this new fresh kid. Your clothes are clean. You know, you come in and you were like walking into like the friggin' methadone like clinic. Some of these guys.
I got the best story.
And nothing against the guys. It was just these are some scraggly looking fucking older dudes, man.
Listen,
like it was no joke.
My very first day, Manhattan 2. I walk into the locker room. They show me where my locker is. All of a sudden, 2 guys walk in, plastered, coming from trials. And the guy's big Italian guy, looked like some out of a mafia movie, is poking me in the chest. Listen, kid, this job is fucked up. Blah, blah, blah. In my face, I'm like,
Yeah.
He's like, fuck this job. They just got 40 days, both guys. 40 days. They got in trouble doing something they weren't supposed to be doing.
Yep.
And they got 40-day suspension, so they weren't on the clock. They were just going back to the garage to get their shit and leave.
And hang out and drink. Come on.
Yeah, well, they got wasted when they found out they got 40 days each. But should have been happy they didn't get fired, because what they did, you would have thought they would have got fired for. But that was my very first day in a sanitation garage. So I'm like, what the fuck is going on in this place?
Yeah, what did we get ourselves into?
I was like, holy shit. It was literally, as a young guy, listen, I got into a lot of trouble growing up. I was fucked up. I was in the streets. I was doing stupid shit. But when you walk into a place for a city job and guys are coming at you like all fucking zooted and nuts out of their fucking minds, you're like, how the fuck is this a city job?
Yeah.
It was just nuts. It was fucking chaos.
Yeah, and you think of, you know, the days then where it was really, we got on at a crazy time.
Yeah.
Where
It was the
they
tail
were,
end of the bus. It was the beginning of the bus.
Yeah, exactly. And they were at their ends. A lot of those guys who
Yeah.
they couldn't stop what they were doing.
Yeah.
And they were partying every day, driving trucks around New York
Vietnam
City.
Vets.
Yeah.
All Vietnam vets.
There were some hard dudes, man.
Yeah.
There were some hard motherfucking dudes there. It was crazy.
We when we got in, it was a changing of the guard, so to say.
Okay.
Because people they were retiring at like ridiculous numbers. That's the reason we all got hired so fast.
Yes.
Because the class that retired after 20 years was the biggest hiring they ever had on the job. So all those guys were leaving, and they were replacing them with us.
Yeah.
But that whole craziness was just leaving.
Well, yeah, because
Scary shit.
96, we got hired in 99. And in 96, they implemented the CDL test, the CDL license, which these guys, remember, they
were grandfathered in.
But they didn't have a CDL.
No, they didn't have, they just got a license.
They just had a regular license. So they were driving,
they got grandfathered a CDL license.
Exactly. They would come pulling up in a car and driving a garbage truck. They allowed it. They just, whatever they did, and I don't even know what they did. They just learned how to drive a truck.
Still to this day, a fireman, the chauffeur, doesn't have a CDL.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a little different with, I think they do a big training with them.
Okay. But
Ours was, I think, if I remember correctly, one of our friends was telling us that like they just drove in like a circle in the garbage truck.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, here you go.
Yeah.
And they just put them out on the street.
Yeah.
But with us, we learned how to do all that, so it was different. But there was that 3 years of 96 to 98-ish, 99, where before we got hired, a lot of guys were losing the job.
Yeah.
With drugs and shit, alcohol. There was a lot of things like that were going on. The numbers were right, so they were all retiring. Yeah. We came on the job where everybody had a good, 25, 30 years already.
Yeah. And let's not get it twisted. These guys had 17 years of not being drug tested.
Yeah, they were having fun.
So
they were having a lot of fun.
All of a sudden now, we call it a bus. It's a motorhome, pulls up at your garage, it's random. You don't know what garage it's
6
going to.
a.m.
At 6 a.m. they show up. You sign. They go to the board. They just start pulling random names out. You got to pee. You got to do a breathalyzer and you got to pee.
So we had a guy in M6. God rest his soul. I forget his name, but anyway. He would stand outside the garage, jingling his keys, and he'd be like throwing his keys around, and he would stand out there the entire time, and that was a sign.
Yeah.
We learned that was a sign that the bus is in Manhattan and it's in the area.
Yeah,
because these knuckleheads on the bus, when they went to certain garages on the west side where we were, you were on 2, I was at 6, 7. 1, we were all like within like a 15, 20 minute,
you had
20 blocks, right? Yeah. So they would go to the same spot if they were coming to any of those garages for breakfast.
Yeah.
So guys used to drive by there. They would make it a point to drive by this spot.
Yeah.
And if they saw the wagon there at like 20 after 5, they would tip off all the garages. And this guy was just jingling his keys out the garage. And I hate to say, like, you had to be smart. So I only had a year on the job, just say. And there were a few times where I went out and had a few drinks, and I'm like, I can't do this. And if you're on probation and you get jammed up,
it's over.
You got to go. You get fired.
It's over at that point.
For anything, even alcohol. If you blow, like you're talking, to blow for alcohol was like, it was random, they said. On top of the random.
Yeah.
So like if you went in door number 1, that guy could get, a breathalyzer. Yeah. Door number 2, the same time you walk in, that guy may not get a breathalyzer. But you both got to pee.
Yeah.
And, it goes from there.
I remember it was stressful because if you had work on a Saturday and you had to work on Friday night and you had a wedding, you were like, fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck. Or Christmas party. I remember one time I went to a Christmas party on a Friday night. And it snowed. So I'm like, I'm good. I'm golden.
Yeah.
And I get to the garage and I forget what the fuck was going on, but I just put myself in the garage just to be safe.
Uh-huh.
Because you know you don't want to be out. You're not technically still drunk the next day, but you might have drank so much that you got still some shit in you.
Exactly.
That
And
God forbid you hit somebody and cause severe damage. You're gonna pay.
Yeah.
So I just took myself out of the equation and went in the garage and changed tire, whatever I had to do that day.
Yeah.
Chains and
You
plows.
did the garage utility stuff, and
Yeah.
and that's what those days where you had that, opportunity, it helped. But there were times, like you said, you go out, you have a few drinks, you're worried, and now it's like, I'm gonna lose the job because of this. So, like my first, I think that happened to me once, and I said, you know what, screw this. And I'm not. If I have work the next morning, I'm not fucking going out drinking.
Yeah.
So I kind of just told all my friends, I was like, listen, guys, unless I am off Saturday, don't even bother calling me on Friday.
Tough.
But I'd be the clown calling everybody on Tuesday. Yo, y'all want to hang out?
Because I'm off Wednesday.
Because I was off Wednesday.
Everyone's like, God.
But they all got real, Monday to Friday,
Like,
normal
get the
jobs.
fuck outta here.
And we had a rotating schedule. So your days were, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you were off rotating.
That was like, so when you get hired, you don't expect to have a calendar for the whole month of when you're going to be off.
Exactly.
So like
the whole month, the whole year.
Yeah, the whole year. So so you're like, when you find all this out, you're like, oh shit. So now you're looking at the calendar, and depending on your number, some guys had better numbers than others. You know what I mean?
Well, better numbers came into play with working charts and stuff.
Yeah.
That had nothing to do with really days off, but you if you had an officer's chart, to all that don't know, if you had an officer's chart, you were known as like an officer's chart garage, which you're rotated, Monday, Tuesday through Saturday.
Yeah.
So if this week I'm off Monday, next week I'm off Tuesday, the following week Wednesday, and it goes
every
on
5
from
weeks
there.
you got 3-day weekend.
Exactly.
Hit the trifecta.
Exactly.
Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
I hit a triple last night, but we'll talk about that. No, but then you get a regular chart day, and dude, I would show up to the wrong fucking days. Oh my Lord, bro. I couldn't keep track of that for nothing. And I had the calendar in my locker.
Yeah.
I still cannot keep up with any of it because I would take a day off and then forget what day and show up.
No, definitely.
So I had this.
That was the crazy part of that was like something new, like you never had that before.
No, it was just odd. Well, plus we were working on Saturdays. Like I never worked on Saturdays. Oh no, I'm lying because when I was 13 washing dishes at Perfect Parties in Staten Island, I was working Friday, Saturday, Sundays. That was like my days because it was like a catering hall. So I did work those days, but no, I'll never forget the day I call out. I wake up in like frantic in the morning. It was like 10 after 6. I call the garage. I'm like, I literally jump in the car. I knew I had a uniform at the garage, so I didn't care. Jump in the garage. I was out the night before, and I'm flying to Manhattan. I didn't get over the bridge yet, but I'm like flying on the highway to get to M6, and I get my boss, the chief of the garage. I'm like, Chief, I'm sorry, I'm running late. He's like, you drunk fucking Irish asshole. I'm like, what happened? He goes, it's Sunday, you fucking idiot. I was so fucked up from the night before. I thought it was Saturday. And dude, I'm flying on the highway, shit-faced, like still hungover. He's like, dude, it's fucking Sunday, you idiot. Go back home and go to bed, you drunken Irishman. But but then again, that was another thing. Like, you got in good with certain guys. That boy, Dwyer, Chief Dwyer, he was awesome. Everybody talks shit about him. He was my first boss on the job. He was a hard-nosed, old-school guy. He didn't take no shit. But if you were a worker, and that got you far in every aspect of that job too.
That's the way it always was. If you were working, not alone,
you got taken care of. And it's not saying taken care of like you got anything extra. Well, maybe, but
you got respect.
You got respected. If you had something to do and they knew you were the worker, the way you were, you would get things that other guys wouldn't. I'm plain and simple. Like, it's it was right there in the open,
Yeah.
But some guys just went out and made the job harder than it was. That bosses
break balls.
No, but the bosses made it. Now you made the boss's job harder. So now that's why they said, you know what? Screw this guy. If he's going to jerk around like this, well, wait until he needs a day off his son. We'll send it home.
We would catch a lot. I would catch a lot of flack from Sandman because certain bosses like me and they would call my name over the radio and call me the A-team or whatever the case may be. I'd be like, what are you mad at for? Because you have beef with him? I got no beef with him. He never did nothing to me.
Just doing the job.
I just come here and work, and I want to go home.
Exactly. And that's,
but that's what I'm getting at. Like, they respected you more for being a worker, and then one hand washes the other. Exactly.
You know,
not that we asked for it, but if you needed something, in the back of their head, they remembered, Goetz or Owen stepped up. I'll okay the day off or whatever.
But also, too, we were new on the job. So we didn't even realize we were doing anything for anyone. Yeah. Like a boss comes up to me and says, and once again, we're getting into, back in 99, we were on, the bosses had 25, 30 years, every one of them. Yeah. We didn't have like now. Yeah. Like now the bosses are all like 25-year-olds. Yeah. It's totally different. Like when we left, there were bosses that were in their 20s and they're telling us what to do. And it's like, bro,
also back
relax yourself.
Those bosses knew the job. They worked the job. They were behind the truck.
Yes.
Today, bosses, a lot of them are never behind the truck.
No. You know what I mean? They all, find their, wiggle their ways.
Whatever their little niches.
Yeah, which is fine.
Which is fine.
Do your thing.
But don't judge me if you never did the job. Like, don't tell me
how to do something.
How this is going to go because you never fucking did it. All you did was see it on paper.
Exactly.
Or on a computer screen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The respect goes both ways.
Yeah. But when we came on, like these guys were the hard-nosed, old school guys.
They were all behind the truck. You couldn't bullshit them.
And hey kid, do me a favor. There's a back end stop on 2nd Avenue. Can you go grab it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I
didn't know I could say no. Yeah, that took me time.
I never really questioned most of it at the beginning. I just did what anybody asked. You know what I mean? That's basically, I felt I was just doing my job.
We were workers, and believe it or not, to everyone out there, there's people that take these jobs that don't want to fucking work.
Because they get told the wrong information.
Yes.
Because you got some guy that's on a job telling them, we don't do shit. We don't do shit. Well, I'm done by 9:30 in the morning. Yo, bro, the only way you're done by 9:30 in the morning is by breaking your ass.
Exactly.
Hustling like a fucking animal. Sweating your balls off in the freezing cold. You're sweating. Yeah. Because you're literally jogging behind the truck to get done. So when a guy tells these kids, the fucking job's a joke, you do whatever you want, you don't fucking gotta listen to nobody.
They think they don't have to do anything.
No, they get misinformed and they come in here with a chip on their shoulder, thinking that they're gonna walk through the door and not have to do shit.
Exactly.
I used to fucking hate those kids when they came in.
Yeah, and we got on in October, so we got thrown right into the fire with the whole winter thing.
Yep.
And once again, I kind of knew the sanitation did the plowing and stuff, but I didn't realize to what extent.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy how...
Yeah, that there's front end loaders out there picking up snow. There's all this different...
But I learned quick, too, in Manhattan, like, I go in, there's five spreaders in my whole garage, my whole district. Like you said, there's 2 or 3 in yours, in M2. But the crazy part about it was you just had plows then. Yeah. And I said, well, there's no other spreaders on all these other avenues, these big stretches. Because we picked up from 14th to 50th, 9th Street. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, York, all those streets.
You were a bigger district than me.
Yeah, but then somebody had told me, which I didn't think of because I wasn't in Manhattan that much. He's like, nah, most of the streets are heated because of the subways anyway.
Yeah, it melted.
So it melts on its own. Yeah. It just, the bad storms, we got to push it out of the way.
The one thing I loved about a snowstorm in Manhattan, if you want a plow truck and you sent the fucking manhole cover flying, you got to sit there until the manhole cover went back on. Do you remember that?
You had to block the manhole cover.
You had to block the manhole cover.
Yeah, I do remember that. Awesome. Never happened to me.
Oh, it happened to me a couple times.
Well, some people have the tricks of the trade.
Some people are dicks.
Yeah.
I remember hitting one, bro, during a snowstorm. I just got on. Boom! That thing was like a frisbee. Phew! I was like, holy shit. Yeah. And then I see the supervisor. He goes, like, he must have seen it happen. He was probably down the block. Yeah. And I shot it maybe 50 feet. That thing weighs about 150 pounds, right?
Oh, easy.
He's like, Goetz, you got to go back around and sit in front of it until somebody puts it back on. I go, do I have to put it back on? He goes, no. I go, great. I drove around.
And just sit there.
Dropped the plow and sat there. I think the DEP came and did it. Somebody like that.
Yeah, actually, that first winter, I never went in a spreader. I was in a plow a few times, but nothing really crazy with like snowstorms with spreader wise. I remember a guy that came in with us. or he might have been in a class before us. And I remember he stopped for pizza on the way. Now, when our spreaders only did the ins and the outs to the FDR and the FDR. That was it. FDR and ins and outs. That's all our spreaders did. After the storm was over, then they would come out in the streets and put salt where needed. Dude, he stopped for pizza on the way there. You remember Andrews, Chief Andrews?
Yes.
Andrews ripped him a new one, bro. I thought this kid was going to cry. Like, I felt bad for him, but he's like, he jumped up in the truck. And these were the old school bosses, people. This is what I'm saying. They know the ins and outs of the job. Because it's high, you know, you got to get out there. It's a snowstorm. What took this kid so long? Well, when he went in the office, he noticed that there was a pizza box in the truck, and he noticed it was still warm. So they pinned him. They banged him for it. You know, he probably lost a day's pay or whatever he lost, but that's the way the job was. But that's in the winters. You know, we're emergency service on that side of it, and you know, if you don't look at it like that and you just take it blah blah whatever,
paramilitary organization,
yeah, whatever that is. But
that's what they said. You don't remember that?
No, you know, we're wearing green because we're the army. We're not the fucking army. And then you know, it was 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. This is guys. Listen, let's be realistic. We are not in the army. Those guys are amazing. They do. It has nothing to do with that. They're fucking out of their minds. Whoever decided that.
I was fighting trash.
Yeah, exactly. On the front line of picking garbage up.
Manhattan.
The Raccoon Kings.
Trash.
The Raccoon Kings were out there.
That's right.
But mind you, when I say that, a lot of the guys were the old timers. I had a guy who was a militant guy, black dude in Manhattan that I work with, and we were picking up metal and glass somewhere, whatever, 2nd Avenue or whatever. And I remember I threw in a blue bag, the recycling bag, and it was crazy, dude, because it had a piece of styrofoam in it, a big chunk of styrofoam, and the guy went fucking nuts, started yelling at me, and literally grabbed the bag, threw it on the ground. He's yelling at me, kid, this ain't fucking recycling.
One of those.
And like, but this guy, like, you couldn't speak to this guy. Like, he was that kind of militant, like, you know, the way he was. And I literally stood up to him. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? It's a garbage. I'm throwing it the fuck out. I don't care what the fuck's in the bags, you know?
The bag's blue, so I threw it in.
Yeah, and then we got through the day, and it was like, okay, you know, we move on. And then he was like my best friend. It was like, that's what was weird about a lot of these guys. Like, once they realized that you were here to do the job, you weren't here to fuck around. You weren't like, oh, look at me, I got a city job kind of thing, you know? But Manhattan was just, I don't know. Working there compared to ending in Staten Island, it was just a whirlwind of difference. And even with fun-wise, like, I had fun in Manhattan, but it was nothing like we did in Staten Island. No,
I'll never forget when I was in Manhattan, recycling. They would call it paper fever in the summer.
Yeah.
Because it was so much different. The weight was so much less because everybody was away in Manhattan.
Oh, okay.
So all them big stops you had,
yeah,
you know, because you know everything was separate, right? So in the wintertime, you're doing 11 tons of paper. In the summertime, you might be doing 8.
Yeah.
So they would call it paper fever, bro. You would just put your head down and throw bales and boom, 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 boom. I came to Staten Island. Listen, Manhattan was all business.
Yep.
You just wanted to get the route done, the weight. You knew everything was there. I get to Staten Island. They're like, oh, my boss like, oh, you're on paper today. Good luck. I go, good luck. I said, bro, I'm doing 11 tons of paper, dumping a truck and coming back.
Exactly. Yeah.
Going back out with an empty and filling that.
Yep.
With a quarter of a load.
A piece.
Yeah.
Truck and a piece.
I go, what are you kidding me? Yeah. I get to Staten Island. I'll do 4 tons of paper. It was 3 million times worse than what I did in Manhattan.
Yeah, because it was 400 miles.
Chasing it. I'm like, holy shit.
You're picking up 3 pieces of paper at every house.
But like the difference was Manhattan, you put your head down, you pulled up to a monster stop, they pulled your head down, and you just went wham, 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 wham. And then you'd be
bundle
like,
after bundle.
Bundle after bundle.
Yeah.
You didn't bullshit with the guy, you didn't laugh, you didn't talk, you didn't go, oh, look at that girl, or none of that. There was none of that. Staten Island, you're like, yeah, you're running for it, but you're having fun.
Yeah.
You and your partner are bullshit, making jokes, stupid shit.
Yeah, it's at the I don't want to say the depth of it, but like when you're picking up per building in Manhattan, and there's just say a 40 condo building.
Yeah.
you're picking up 40 houses at once, compared to in Staten Island you're picking up the 40 houses, which is a block and a half, 2 blocks. So it's a big difference. I remember
crazy.
With the paper stuff, I thought you were going to get into was when they used to steal the paper.
Oh yeah.
When they used to have the box trucks come out, when paper prices used to go up, they used to come out and steal. We would see them in the morning. You go out at 6 a.m. and you would see them. You would see the guys still leaving Manhattan with box trucks filled with newspapers and magazines.
Yeah.
Because they would now go on their own and recycle the paper. Yeah. And the paper dumps didn't care. They didn't care where they got it. They just wanted the paper. And they were getting paid per pound. So you would go out and you did 8 tons, 11 tons, like you said, on a Monday. Tuesday, if the paper price went up, you would do like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
There was nothing.
I remember that.
It was cardboard boxes. That's all it was. So it was just such a different atmosphere of like the work and what you did and who you dealt with and what you dealt with.
Totally different.
Even with, the cars and the taxi cabs, and which you don't have anymore.
Traffic behind you.
The traffic was torture. And at the end of my career, they started like implementing all these bike lanes. Like in Manhattan, before I left Manhattan, that's when they started with the bike lanes, and it sucked. It was just stupid. It was like, come on, like I've seen like 8 people ride bikes in Manhattan.
Well, what about just this, the difference in Manhattan and Staten Island, driving from the other side of the truck?
Yeah.
So now I'm 18 months, say whatever it is.
Yeah.
I'm driving from the left side of the truck like a regular vehicle
all the time.
And then you go to Staten Island and you get on that side and the guy looks at you like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know, what am I doing? He goes, we drive from this side over here. And I'm like,
it was like a law.
Fuck.
Yeah. And we never did it in Manhattan. You weren't allowed.
No, you weren't. You weren't allowed to.
If you got caught riding on the right side, driving on the right side, of the truck, it was like you got banged. You couldn't do it. You got a complaint.
That was a big adjustment for me when I came.
And we did it in certain locations. Like if we did, because there were a few places in 6 that had like house to house. It was only like maybe 13, 14 blocks, if that, of the entire district.
Yeah.
But it was like a block long. It wasn't like Staten Island where it was a mile long.
See, my district was split up. So like it would be, say if you're doing 7th and 8th, might be all bag stop. But when you got to like Perry Street and all that shit, it was all house to house.
Yeah.
So you might have 2 blocks of big bag stops, and then every route, I'm talking about, every route.
Yeah.
And then you'd have like 3 or 4 blocks of house to house. So you had your mixture of it. But it was a big adjustment coming to Staten Island because you were chasing weight.
Yeah.
That's what you were doing. You were chasing weight.
Yeah, and you didn't have the weight where you had a few buildings here and there, like that you can go to and run and grab bags, but it was nothing like Manhattan. It was absolute.
No, that's why I say everybody needs to start Manhattan.
Yeah,
in
I
a perfect
remember.
world, everybody would have to start Manhattan.
I remember driving, and it just was not. It was not normal. It was just crazy that I was driving a garbage truck with all these people just walking out in the middle of the street, and cabs cutting you off left and right. I was in one accident in Manhattan. I was coming off the 59th Street Bridge, and we were coming back from dumping metal and glass in Brooklyn. And, you got to go all through Queens or whatever. So I was fine with it. It wasn't like I was scared, but I was trying to get to, like, the furthest lane off of the bridge. And for some reason, the guy stopped in front of me. And I was more worried about hitting something on my right side. Yeah. And I stopped looking at him in my rear view in the left. And my tire hit his fender. And like these plastic cars now, they're junk. Yeah. The tire hit the back bumper. The bumper popped off the fucking car. It literally just went poof and just blew off the back of the car. I touched it. And this guy Jerry I was with, he's not on the job. He didn't make it. I think he got like 6 years and then got jammed up. But the guy jumps out the truck. You just hit me. The guy Jerry's like, and you just got into an accident. Or he said, I just bought this truck. He's like, and you just got into an accident. Like, he's like, what are you going to do, bro?
Yeah, it is what it is.
But, the foreman came and they were like, it's a little fender bender. Like, it wasn't like a major accident, which you can get jammed up for. But I think I wound up saying that the gas pedal was getting stuck on a bolt. That was because it did happen that day earlier in the day. The gas pedal got stuck on a bolt underneath the pedal. While we're doing the route, I slammed on the brakes and you're hearing the screeching like the truck wants to go.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Jerry, what the fuck is going on? Turns out they put the bolt backwards, so the nut was sticking up instead of down, so that the carriage part, like the rounded part, wasn't on the floor. The bolt was up.
Oh shit!
So I hate to say I got away with it, but I wound up not getting banged up because we said that's what happened.
You know how that shit goes. They look to fucking prosecute you before they even know what happened with the accident.
Exactly.
You're always guilty. You got to be proven innocent.
Yeah, and then like that in Manhattan, when you're dealing with that, you would think there would be thousands of accidents.
Yeah.
Just the way people are running and crossing. I used to yell, "Watch your toes," because people would stand right at the curb,
baskets?
In the curb line. Yeah,
baskets. I think it was the worst case scenario to fucking kill somebody.
Yeah,
because these people would just jump out in front of the truck. I'll never forget. Mikey D. I'll just say that he worked in one with us.
Mikey D. Oh yes.
He worked with me in Manhattan. We're on baskets.
Mikey Dikey.
Yeah, so we're on fucking baskets. And every basket is a shit show in that old district.
Yeah.
So you get out there.
It's like somebody's apartment was cleaned out on every basket.
Exactly, right? So I jump off the back of the truck. I'm doing a stop. So Mike he's going to jump out and help me. He jumps. Now there's fucking tons of people getting ready to cross. We're on like 5th Avenue.
Oh. He didn't pull the brake.
No, the truck starts rolling. My first instinct is to put my fucking hands out.
Like you're gonna hold
what
it.
What the fuck? I'm like, jump in the truck.
A 25,000 pound truck.
People screaming at us. I'm like, oh, Mike. I'm like, what are you doing, bro? Because he was maybe a couple of months before us.
Yeah, I think he got on the first class. That's September.
No, they got hired the last of
April. I think they came on in April.
They were the last class of the test before us.
Yes.
Those were the guys that waited 10 years.
Yes.
So I was like, but like, there's people crossing.
Yeah.
It's fucking 5th Avenue. I'm up by NYU.
So you got kids all over the place.
Yeah, you're going to kill like 100 people. The truck's rolling backwards.
And that's even, like, we didn't have phones back then. I can only imagine how bad it is now. With the kids, especially in, like, the colleges, walking around looking at their phones the whole time. Because I remember when we used to do the baskets at night, we used to scare the shit out of people on the corners because I worked with guys, like we said, they wanted the truck where they want. They were like militant guys. They're like, if not, they would rip you a new asshole.
I used to be petrified of those guys.
And I would literally go dig into the crosswalk to get them. Like, I would put that truck, the back of that truck, at the curb, at that basket every time. But, it was, I don't want to say finesse, but the people coming in the crosswalk were petrified for their lives.
Yeah.
And then now I think about it, I'm like, oh my. They must have been like thinking I'm coming right for them.
This guy's gonna fucking run me over.
Yeah, this guy's gonna take me out. This is where I go.
For a basket.
I'm gonna die by a garbage truck.
Because the guy wanted to get close to a corner basket.
Just to not piss this guy off.
Yeah.
That's got 30 years on, and he should be retired anyway.
Yeah.
Limping around and everything else. But Manhattan was fun, man. And
it was.
And it was a good time.
A lot of cool stuff in Manhattan, man.
Oh my God!
A lot of famous people, a lot of cool shit.
Yeah, we used to pick up a few famous people up in Sutton Place and all those people.
Yeah.
I think that's where it would. After down the road, that's where Epstein lived.
Yeah.
When they came on the TV, I was like, oh, I used to pick up that garbage right there.
And you picked up all his old dirty underwear.
Oh stuff. Jesus Christ! Don't bring that shit up. That's the Staten Island. That's that Staten Island story. Oh my God!
Epstein.
But dude, I think we did a pretty good job. Episode 1.
Episode 1 is in the books, people.
It'll
subscribe
be out,
and share.
And subscribe. We're gonna get this out to everybody, and like I said, we're learning. We're still gonna, and we're just gonna get through it.
All right. So our Instagram is Trash N Talk Pod. Email trashtalkpod@gmail.com. And then when we're on YouTube, we'll inform you all. But subscribe and share. Send us out to everybody. This is our first thing, so
yeah,
it's going to be a little rough in the beginning because we're just getting our feet wet. But
yeah,
we're gonna have a lot of fun with this, and I hope you guys all enjoy it.
Yeah, and I hope enjoy it and send us emails, and tell us, like I said, if you know somebody with a pretty cool job, or yourself, you want to come on and talk about it, let us know. And that's what we're looking for. We want this to be a strictly a podcast to get word out about certain jobs that maybe people won't think that are for them, and maybe just watching this and they'll enjoy it, and maybe they'll get into a job they never thought it would be a right fit for them.
100%.
So, all right, thanks all for watching
Thank you guys.
and listening, and we'll be back.
What's up? Yeah. Get a load of this.